All right, before I get into this, I'm going to just remove Jason Spezza from the wrath of the rant I'm about to go on,
pretty
because
well
he's
for
been
them.
really, really
Best
good.
player this year and the best player in the playoffs.
Yeah, he has been amazing. But here's the thing. I want to go back to what Sheldon Keefe said, and I don't want to harp on Sheldon Keefe, but I will. We're talking about what a Stanley Cup contending team looks like. We're talking about lessons. I'm sorry. Did I travel back in time to 2017? Because this ain't year one of a rebuild.
Yeah.
This is year number 6 with Austin Matthews and this core. You're supposed to be the Stanley Cup contending team. That's what we've been saying, right? For the last 2 years. Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, William Nylander, JT, John Tavares. This team's going to win a cup. How do you come out and start talking about lessons? That to me, no, that's 5 years ago. That's 4 years ago. That's not right now. And I look at the Toronto Maple Leafs, and it's not, again, it's not that they are losing. It's going to happen. It's the way that they're losing, the lack of intensity, the lack of passion, the lack of just fight within their game and fighting for pucks and back checking and skating and all of the things that make teams Stanley Cup contending teams, those intangibles, I don't feel like the Leafs are doing. I'm going to preface this because I know I'm going to take heat from Leafs fans on Twitter. I'm not worried about Austin Matthews scoring goals, and I'm not worried about Mitch Marner racking up points. But the same problem has faced the Leafs for years. When the going gets tough, they buckle. And when I look at this team and the core specifically, they have been given every single thing that they wanted. They didn't like Babcock. He's gone. Matthews and Marner wanted to play together. They got to play together. Nylander wanted money. He got his money. Mitch Marner wanted to be in the same class financially as Austin Matthews and be looked at as the same type of players. Kyle Dubas conceded and said, yep, you're as valuable as Austin Matthews, so here's $11 million to be a playmaker. And they wanted the relaxed dress code, and they got it. When are they going to give back? Like, when are they going to start living up to the benefit of the doubt that we've been giving them for 4 seasons?
Yeah.
Here's my question, because I know I'm
Preach,
like,
Jackie.
Here's the thing.
I'm all ears.
This is the point I'm trying to get to. I've looked at this team as a team that could contend for a Stanley Cup for the last couple of years, right? That was my expectation last year. It was my expectation the year before. I'm starting to wonder if maybe the expectations for this team are too high. Like, are the Toronto Maple Leafs fatally flawed in the way that they are built?
Yes, that to me is where it's at. And I agree with everything you said, except the one thing about what have they given back. I have no problem with what Austin Matthews has given back to this franchise and to those fans. He simply scores goals.
And I said I'm not worried about his goals.
Yeah, and you did say that. So I'm just saying that. So but like Mitch Marner. Mitch Marner, was he bad in the playoffs? He was unnoticeable. Does that mean that he's been terrible for that? No, he's been. This is a badly built team, and I don't care who you are. This group came out and said we're going to reinvent the wheel and we're going to have this team built this way, and it looked really good because what it was before was really bad. You know what I mean? So then it wasn't too hard. I mean, it's equivalent of like if you have a home. Okay, and you're going to go load up this home. We're going to go buy flat screen TVs for every single room. We're going to get state of the art everything, but the roof's leaking. The foundation's cracked. There's a broken window over there. What are we doing here? You're buying these nice things, and there's no structure to the building.
That's
you know what I mean?
Good way to put it.
And this is what I find with this Leafs team. This is a team that just simply they can't win unless it's their way. Okay? Well, guess what? When I'm playing against the Toronto Maple Leafs, my game plan is to not let them play their way.
Yeah.
And what does that mean? You know what I mean? Like, hey, Dano, let's put the puck behind their D. Let's make their D turn back. Let's get Morgan Riley facing the wrong way, and let's go lay some hits on them. Let's sit here and let's not keep Austin Matthews to the outside. I mean, who are the guys on this team? This is a team that they build. It's based off of talent, scoring goals, and there's no variety in this lineup. And the thing that drives me nuts is that after the bubble, Kyle Dubas said, I think we need to get a little more gritty. It took you that long to know you need to get gritty, and this is the other problem. You can't go buy grit down at the corner market. You know what I mean? You've got to develop that from within. You've got to. It's something that has to come up with your organization.
Mentality.
It hasn't been there. You can't just go buy this. These things that are being done, the way that time is taken in Tampa, and the way that Steve Yzerman's doing it in Detroit. It's slow, it's long, it's painful. We said that that's what it was going to be in Toronto. But those things never happened.
There will be pain. Wasn't that the
there was going to be pain, but you know what? There was no buildup of. They lack a lot of intangibles, a ton of intangibles.
They do to have sustained success. Their top guns are too skilled, too talented. They will start putting the puck in net. There's no doubt about it.
Totally agree.
But will that solve all their problems?
No.
I kind of alluding to what you're saying, Jackie and Rupper. I agree with you 100%. This is a team that it all comes down to the bottom line. We said it 10 years ago, 20 years ago. For any successful team, it's urgency, it's desperation, it's a team mentality that we're going to win an ugly, tight 2-1 game. Yeah. It's not always going to be, they have plenty of skill. And if you want to play a pond hockey game against Toronto Maple Leafs, well, you're probably going to lose because of that talent.
Well, I would say...
But when the going gets tough, as we like to say, they've got to find ways. And I saw some of that in the playoffs. Maybe not last year, the year before with the Toronto Maple Leafs. They lost a tough game against a real gritty, one of the better teams as far as paying attention to detail. Maybe not as skilled, the Columbus Blue Jackets a couple of seasons ago. I thought the Leafs competed, played hard. They got to do that on a consistent basis and move forward. Yeah, their top guns got to start putting the puck in net, but there's more to it. I like what you said, your analogy, Jack.
My last thing I want
urgency.
My last thing I want to throw out there, the guy that was doing that has done that in Long Island, Lou Lamoriello, and they've gotten the 2 Eastern Conference Finals. So, I mean, I think it was just too early on that change of the guard there.
Maybe.
There's got to be a little tough love there, I would say, to every guy and say, guys, let's regroup here. It's only 6 games into the season, 6, 7 games, whatever the Leafs have played now. But point being, you're going to go in slumps. You're going to have tough times. But, yes, there's high expectations there. You have to raise the bar. So when you lose 1, 2 in a row, that's it. Your team mentality has to be, if you're a good team and have the talent that they do, you've got to believe, guys, we're going to do whatever it takes tonight to win. If it's an ugly 2-1 game, let's get to that and win one. And then we start feeling a little more confident about ourselves and we can get back to the style we like to play. And that's, a little freewheeling.
I don't even know what that style is for them, though. I'm not trying to be funny. I don't know what that is.
Here's the thing that I'll say. And again, Austin Matthews is one of the greatest goal scorers I've ever had the privilege to watch play for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I've watched them my whole life. It's amazing. But who are they outside of Austin Matthews? This team is defined by Austin Matthews, and when he's not on the ice or he's not scoring, which is rare, I don't think this team knows who they are. And that's a problem. So
what about those analytic numbers, Jackie?
Don't talk to me about possession.
Because we all talk about that stuff, and they've had good numbers.
They're going to break out here soon.
Hasn't amounted to win.
But it's not going to matter because it's going to catch up with them at some point, whether it's now or in the playoffs. It's going to catch up with them. They'll break out of this, though.
Yes, here's the thing. Marner's going to get his points. Matthews is going to get his goals. The Leafs are going to win hockey games. I am totally in agreement with all of that. Your possession thing, because they were winning the possession game at one point against Carolina the other night, it's great if you have the puck all the time, but you have to do something with it. It can't just be like pass it around and do nothing in the zone. You have to actually convert on some of these chances. If you don't, almost doesn't count. You know what I mean? And I go on this rant. This is the last thing I'm going to say because I do feel for Leafs fans sometimes they become a bit of a joke and everyone's like, oh my God, Leafs fans are panicking 6 games in. It is not game 8 tonight. This is year 6. And when you're watching the same thing over and over and over again, you have to understand that the fan base is just a little bit frustrated. But I hope they win tonight.
As a coach, that has got to drive you nuts when you're not managing the puck like you need to be. You looked at some tape about Toronto. Is that what's kind of coming out of this tape?
It's one of the 2 things that I see. I mean, they're getting it and they're just throwing it away. They're not looking. I mean, the worst case scenario is turnovers in the neutral zone when everybody's cheating to go the wrong way. Here's some examples here. They just give it away at the blue line. And all of a sudden, Pittsburgh comes down and they're going to score here. You look at the next one. Again, Pittsburgh. This is sort of the replay, I think. Yeah, the replay of the same play. Here, the Leafs got it, and what do? They just throw it away. This is not the Leafs that we've seen in the past. And when they're doing that, it's leading to easy goals by the opposition. This is Ottawa. It's not all the same team. It's not all the 7-1 game. These are all different teams that they're playing against. Here's even the Canadians. They get it, and boom, they turn the puck around, and it's off to the races for a 2-on-1 the other way. And I mean, those are simple plays that managing the puck. They got to get it deep. We always talk about it's great to score in the rush, but we want to make it get by the defense and get it in the corners if the worst case scenario here. The other thing is looking at their compete. I mean, they're losing the one-on-one battles here. They lose that one, and again, it's in the back of the net. Again, anytime there's loose pucks, there's a battle there. Who's coming up? Watch this one here. Stop the puck right here. Like, I mean, that first guy is supposed to go out there and at least make contact with their guy, and they don't. They blew snow up, and then all of a sudden the puck's coming the other way. You can't win if you're not going to be, there's a lot of rules against hitting these days, but you got to make contact, whether it's a little bit or a lot, when you're doing the forechecking, and the Leafs aren't doing that right now.
Hey, look, they've got a lot of skill in their group. We're both from Toronto.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of skill. I've got friends from Brendan Shanahan to Sheldon Keefe. I played with both of them. The challenge for the players, though, that are in the group there, do you want to wear the floppy hat, put on the SPF, be at the bar in April, and watch everybody else play in the playoffs? That's what it comes down to. Do you want to be at a resort? Do you want to be on a boat? Or do you want to be like the players that you think you're as good as? Which we know Austin Matthews is elite. He's one of the best players on the planet. Mitch Marner, so many other ones. But the thing for me with that group is, if I'm looking, I see what Patrice Bergeron and Marchand and them and Pasternak and them do. I see what Nate McKinnon and some of these other great players are doing, and part of what makes them great players is the fact that they play deep and their teams get deep into the postseason. In a lot of cases, Steven Stamkos, Kucherov, these players, Patrick Kane, winning Stanley Cups, Anze Kopitar, Drew Doughty, we didn't forget you, winning cups. So if you want to be chilling with a solo cup, playing beer pong, and you're watching everybody else keep doing what you're doing. It's the wrong kind of cup. But they're good enough. In short, they've got the personnel. They have players. Do they play hard? Do they have power forwards? Another thing. But they're a much better team than they're showing, and that's the area of their game that I think needs growth. And if they're willing to commit to that, Gabby, then they can take themselves to the next level in the postseason. And
last night was a perfect example, because the two teams that were underachieving at that point, and we talked about it earlier, Tampa, if you watch the game, they just outcompeted a team that has been outcompeting everybody in Pittsburgh. And then Vegas, you're thinking, oh, they're going into Colorado. Colorado's the big revenge game. They beat them in the playoffs. They just worked and worked and worked. Now, the Leafs have got the ability, and I mean, it's going to kick in. When is it going to kick in? I hope they watched those games last night. I hope Sheldon might have shown some tape from those games. Yeah. And when they realize their sense of urgency is now, it'll kick in. Because I think every player knows that if they lose to Chicago tonight, I wouldn't want to be in Toronto, just for the media and the way the talk is going to be tomorrow.
Totally.
And I'm certain that city and that media magnitude is putting a lot of pressure on these guys. How do you release that pressure for these guys like Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner? Marner, no points in the last 6 games. He's got 1 point on the season. You know that once the points come, they're going to come in a bunch. But how do you release that pressure for this young guy who he looks tense out there on the ice right now?
Here's the thing, man. Austin Matthews is still shooting the puck.
Yes.
That's his calling card. He's the best shooter along with Ovi right now. We have Steven Stamkos and a couple others, no question. But Austin Matthews showing no ill effects, at least in the wrist, in the trust in the wrist, and shooting pucks, being assertive that way. We see that from him. Ton of attempts, tons of shots on goal. He's playing to his strengths, so there's no mistake about that. But it will take time for him, having missed as much time with the surgery, to get acclimated and get 100% up to speed. But he looks good when you're watching him. My thing, though, we know that he's one of the best players. I don't have any worries he's going to hit his stride. My thing with Mitch Marner is he's so skilled and so gifted. You had Nicholas Backstrom in Washington. One of the things I want to see from Marner more is I want to see him coming through the middle with the puck. I want to see him attacking the middle seam, attacking defenders, because he's got elite skill. And by attacking more and being in the middle of the ice, that's going to put him in position to score more points than what he's doing right now.
Yeah, I think he's a superstar. But, I mean, when you play on the perimeter, and teams know you're playing on the perimeter, they're not allowing you to get to the middle. It's hard to get points. It's hard to score goals. And I think he's got to play to the inside of the defense, and he's got to get there. And it might be out of character right now, but until he straightens things out and he starts getting some points and feeling good about himself, that's what he's got to do.
I agree. And why that's so important is not only your proximity, you're closer to the net, but now for the goalie that you're facing and the defenders that you're facing, you're giving them more choices to make. They have to make more reads. Right now, it's easier to get a read on you. If you're going to come in on the zone entry, stop up, wait for a trailer, I'm in the net. Okay, I can read off of that. It's very easy. So too can our defensemen. But if you're doing, as you said, things that are uncharacteristic, maybe some give and goes, getting to the net yourself, being around it, now you're usually a pass first, second guy. Now for that goalie, you're like, oh no, is he going to shoot it? Is he going to pass it? Now you have the goalie and the defenders off balance a lot more.